All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be reacting to KGB defector Yuri Bezmenovs warning to America in 1984. This was a requested video. A few people have been telling me to do this for a while, but I haven't, and here we are. So before I start the video, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe while we're reacting to it. Now let's get into it.
Mr. Bezmenov was born in 1939 in a suburb of Moscow. He was the son of a high-ranking Soviet Army officer. He was educated in the elite schools inside the Soviet Union and became an expert in Indian culture and Indian languages. He had an outstanding career with Novosti, which was and still is, I should say, the press arm or the press agency of the Soviet Union. It turns out that this is also a front for the KGB. He escaped to the West in
Novosti, I'm going to be honest, I don't know what that is.
1970 after becoming totally disgusted with the Soviet system, and he did this at great risk to his life. He certainly is one of the world's outstanding experts on the subject of Soviet propaganda and disinformation and active measures. Well, you spoke several times before about ideological subversion. That is a phrase that I'm afraid some Americans don't fully understand. When the Soviets use the phrase ideological subversion, what do they mean by it?
Ideological subversion is the slow process which we call either ideological subversion or active measures, активные мероприятия in the language of the KGB, or psychological warfare. What it basically means is to change the perception of reality of every American to such an extent that despite of the abundance of information, no one is able to come to sensible conclusions in the interests of defending themselves, their families, their community, and their country.
Now already that rings a bell today. That's how true is that? You can't, it's so hard for a layman to distinguish what's real and what's fake. It's incredibly hard. Even for someone like me, it's not as easy as you think to decide to figure out what's real and what's fake. In terms of the news that you read or that you receive. Anything could be tampered with or, exaggerated, or you never know. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, let's continue. Let's continue.
It's a great brainwashing process which goes very slow, and it's divided in four basic stages. The first one being demoralization. It takes from 15 to 20 years to demoralize a nation. Why that many years? Because this is the minimum number of years which requires to educate one generation of students in the country of your enemy, exposed to the ideology of the enemy. In other words, Marxism-Leninism ideology is being pumped into the soft heads of at least 3 generations of American students without being challenged or counterbalanced by the basic values of Americanism.
Okay, now we're only 2 minutes and 20 seconds through this right here, but is this not ringing a bell? Are people not saying the exact same thing right now? Are people not saying the exact same thing right now? He's spot on so far.
Patriotism. The demoralization process in the United States is basically completed already. For the last 25 years. Actually, it's overfulfilled because demoralization now reaches such areas where previously not even Comrade Andropov and all his experts would even dream of such a tremendous success. Most of it is done by Americans to Americans, thanks to lack of moral standards. As I mentioned before.
Yep. They've managed to make us fight each other. Most of it is done to Americans, by Americans. You name it, black on black crime, people that don't like each other because of politics. You name it. We tear each other down. That's just what we do. Crime in general. Forget black on black crime. Crime in general. That's just what we do, but we're at each other's throats. Because they've managed to, get this ideological subversion through.
Exposure to true information does not matter anymore. A person who was demoralized is unable to assess true information. The facts tell nothing to him. even if I shower him with information, with authentic proof, with documents, with pictures, even if I take him by force to the Soviet Union and show him concentration camp, he will refuse to believe it until he is going to receive a kick in his fat bottom. When a military boot crashes his balls, then he will understand, but not before that. That's the tragic of the situation of demoralization. The next stage is destabilization. This time, subverter does not care about your ideas and the patterns of your consumption. Whether you eat junk food and get fat and flabby, doesn't matter anymore. This time, and it takes only from 2 to 5 years to destabilize a nation, what matters is essentials: economy, foreign relations, defense systems. And you can see it quite clearly that in some areas, in such sensitive areas as defense and economy, the influence of Marxist-Leninist ideas in the United States is absolutely fantastic. I could never believe it 14 years ago when I landed in this part of the world, that the process will go that fast. The next stage, of course, is crisis.
Man, I'm not sure if he's still alive, but if he sees it now, he'd be even more surprised. It goes beyond Marxist and Leninism and all of that.
It may take only up to 6 weeks to bring a country to the verge of crisis. You can see it in Central America now. And after crisis, with the violent change of power, structure, and economy, you have so-called the period of normalization. It may last indefinitely. Normalization is a cynical expression borrowed from Soviet propaganda. When the Soviet tanks moved into Czechoslovakia in '68, Comrade Brezhnev said, "Now the situation in brotherly Czechoslovakia is normalized." This is what will happen in the United States if you allow all these schmucks to bring the country to crisis, to promise people all kind of goodies and the paradise on earth, to destabilize your economy, to eliminate the principle of free market competition, and to put a big brother government in Washington, D.C., with benevolent dictators like Walter Mondale, who will promise lots of things, never mind whether the promises are fulfillable or not. Your leftists in United
Sounds like every politician nowadays.
States, all these professors and all these beautiful civil rights defenders, they are instrumental in the process of the subversion only to destabilize the nation. When their job is complete.
Exactly. Like I said, it's what they're doing is dividing us. Essentially, that's what they're doing, dividing us, making us fight. Then you have the heads underneath those big heads, in which he's talking about the civil rights leaders and the climate activists and you name it. Politicians might fall underneath there, but then they divide us. They help to divide us even further, man. It's almost scary how accurate this is. The fact that he could say something back then and it's still accurate now just shows you that history repeats itself if people allow it to.
They are not needed anymore. They know too much. Some of them, when they get disillusioned, when they see that Marxist-Leninists come to power, obviously they get offended. They think that they will come to power. That will never happen, of course. They will be lined up against the wall and shot. But they may turn into the most bitter enemies of Marxist-Leninists when they come to power. And that's what happened in Nicaragua. You remember most of these former Marxist-Leninists were either put to prison or one of them split and now he's working against Sandinistas. It happened in Grenada when Maurice Bishop was already a Marxist. He was executed by a new Marxist who was more Marxist than this Marxist. Same happened in Afghanistan when first there was Taraki, he was killed by Amin, then Amin was killed by Babrak Karmal with the help of KGB. Same happened in Bangladesh when Mujibur Rahman, very pro-Soviet leftist, was assassinated by his own Marxist-Leninist military comrades. It's the same pattern everywhere. The time bomb is ticking with every second. The disaster.
Yeah, I gotta find out if he's still alive today. That's what I gotta find out. I mean, yeah, y'all heard that. Some of you have probably already seen that, but man, that strikes a bell. And that's why, like I said, people like me, we say what we say. Some people can't get on here and speak. Some people have corporate jobs. They can't be caught, speaking the truth. But, for everyone, I will, and that goes into what I have to say now. Don't forget to let me know what you want to see next in the comments below. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. I'm out of here, guys. Till next time. Peace.